Hello everyone and welcome back to the Nerd Den here once again, and wow, we need to talk about the recent episode of Doctor Who, because Season 2 opened up with its 4th episode, Lucky Day. Yes, it just aired now on BBC iPlayer and will be airing on BBC One later this evening, but I'm going to be talking about the plot of the episode, so be warned of spoilers, because naturally I'm going to be talking about the main plot of the episode, going over it, but talking about the ending, because this episode is very important for the story arc of the rest of the season, and it also sets up the finale. So with all that being said, let's get into the video. Let's talk about this episode, because wow, it is so important in so many ways. So yeah, let's get into the video. Okay, so we open up with the Doctor and Belinda landing in New Year's Day 2007. Yes, they land there and the fireworks are just going off and they meet a young boy called Conrad. Yes, Conrad, who will be very important to this episode. The Doctor gives him a 50p coin, and there we go. We then jump to 2024, where an older version of Conrad witnesses the Doctor and Ruby Sunday stop some aliens known as the Shriek, and he sends them back to their pocket dimension. And then things get a little bit more interesting, because a year later, in the current year of 2025, Conrad is interviewing Ruby Sunday on his podcast, Lucky Day. And on the podcast, he is obviously asking Ruby questions about her time in the TARDIS, explaining stuff about alien life, that sort of thing. And he's getting to know her a little bit. And after the end of the podcast session, he ends up asking her to go for coffee. And, Conrad and Ruby end up naturally progressing into a relationship. So it seems like Ruby's settling down to normal life on Earth. And she ends up going away on a weekend away with him, which, is just like a natural progression in their relationship, and it seems like things are going really well for Ruby. But it's not what it turns out to be, because previously, during one of their dates, Ruby gave Conrad an antidote to stop the Shriek from tracking him, and he didn't take it. And whilst they're at the pub, naturally, what appears to be the Shriek turns up, and Ruby warns Conrad, because he didn't take the antidote, he's put the lives of everyone there in danger, because once they kill him, they're going to kill everyone that's there. But Ruby goes out to investigate to see what's there, how many Shrieks they're facing, and Conrad decides to join her. And luckily, Ruby, prior to confronting the Shriek, she informs Unit and Kate and the rest of Unit, Shirley, Colonel Ibrahim. They all turn up in their cool military vehicles and helicopters and all that jazz, and they arrive at the village. However, it's not what it seems, because the Shriek are simply people in costume, and these people in question, they work for Conrad. Yes, Conrad was behind this. Like, what? Yeah, Conrad is responsible for people pretending to be aliens, and it's because they don't believe that aliens are real, but they're pushing it to the extreme, where they're like, okay, no, units are behind all of this, units are stealing all our money, where's all of this money going, etc. And it kind of starts like a war on misinformation. And Conrad is leading this campaign against Unit, as it's revealed that he's part of a group called Think Tank. And wow, okay, so yeah, there's a massive twist there, and it leads to Conrad getting arrested, but he's later released pretty much straight away due to social media backlash, and he's praised as a hero by quite a few people online. And this leads to several confidential pieces of information about Unit employees being released due to Conrad doing multiple live streams, that sort of thing, attacking Unit. And this leads to him getting an inside look into Unit Tower when an employee lets him in, and this is where the episode gets really interesting, because we get to see Kate Lethbridge-Stewart kind of take a risk where she decides to let the Shriek out of the cage before it gets moved to Geneva, due to the higher-ups at units worrying about the tower not being as safe as it should be anymore because of the whole backlash from the public. Anyway, so she lets the creature out of the cage, and yes, because Conrad didn't take the antidote, the creature straight away starts to stalk him. And Ruby's hesitant, and so is Shirley, about letting the creature attack him. And they're like, we should do something about it. We should only scare him. But Kate is persistent on letting the worst thing happen, because Conrad simply doesn't believe that aliens are true. And as the Shriek closes in on him, Ruby decides to get an electric taser and stuns the Shriek. And Conrad simply just dismisses the alien again. And he's like, oh yeah, at least your special effects have improved, before the Shriek decides to take a massive bite out of his arm. Whew, wow, the plot has certainly taken a lot of twists and turns already. But anyway, after all of this, Conrad is in hospital, he makes a recovery, but he's in a prison cell. And whilst he's in the prison cell, we hear the sound of the TARDIS, and the Doctor is there. Yes, Conrad is transported to the TARDIS interior, and he ends up meeting the Doctor. And the Doctor isn't happy with Conrad. To sum it up, he calls him a coward and says that it's people like him that put people's lives in danger. And there's a little bit of a face-off between the Doctor and Conrad, and it seems like Conrad was the one that told the Doctor about Belinda Chandra before the Robot Revolution, and that's why the Doctor was after Belinda. And it seems like Conrad set the Doctor off on his little mission there at the start of the season. But after Conrad politely, obviously sarcastically, asks the Doctor to return him to his prison cell, he's back in his prison cell, and there's keys jangling, and it's not just any prison officer that's on the other side of that cell, it's Mrs. Flood, and it seems like she's about to let Conrad out of his prison cell, and she says that it's his lucky day. So it seems like that Conrad will have a role in the season finale alongside Mrs. Flood. But how does he fit into her scheme? What's going on? So yeah, a very important episode that does take a lot of twists and turns, but it seems like Conrad will be one of the main villains for the finale alongside Mrs. Flood. So whatever's going down, Wishworld and the Reality War are going to be very interesting episodes. But with all that being said, thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you are new around here, please click that like button and subscribe for more nerdy content, as we are on the road to 8,000 subscribers, which I would love to reach by the end of the year. But I'll see you all next time. Thank you very much for all the support, and goodbye for now.